What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is your review for Kandi and the Gang, Season 1, Episode 4. So listen, y'all, we are back down to the OLG. Kandi, we have Brandon down at the restaurant. He is impressed that Chandrika is actually carrying plates to people's tables. He said, listen, I found it impressive, but she got a long way to go to impress Philip. Now, I don't think she cared about impressing Philip. Now, while this had happened, Patrick comes in there with his girlfriend, Safari. And Safari said they were in the area and they wanted to get something to eat. First of all, sir, you live across the parking lot. You are always in the area. Then, y'all just came to get some cornbread because she vegan. And then them shady ass producers proceeded to label every ingredient that is inside the cornbread that is not vegan. Now listen, I'm just gonna be honest and tell y'all, I lost count of what is and what isn't vegan a long time ago. But you can't eat the greens, they not vegan. I guess if they cooked in like fat, like animal grease, I guess they not vegan. They don't have, I don't know. Then maybe you just should, I don't know. Anyway. So while they're sitting there, Torin comes over and, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. And Torin finds out in that moment while Safari is sitting there that he is no longer going to be in charge of decorating their apartment because Safari is going to do it. And Torin was like, oh, well, he said, well, what about the housewarming? She was like, housewarming? What housewarming? And Patrick was like, well, I don't think that, she not cool with, we're not having a housewarming. Torin was like, oh, okay. Now, while all this is going on, Sharika Rika is over at the hostess stand, peeping the whole thing. Now, her thing is, listen, I don't really trip over Patrick bringing his, women up in here, because he does it all the time. He's been doing it since I've known him, But she's giving the steak eye the whole time. She rolling her eyes and all that other good stuff. Which makes me feel like whatever went down between her and Patrick is deep. It's deep. Okay? Now, Torin feels some kind of way because he's like, damn, I feel like I was just... He said, I'm a little embarrassed. And I just got fired. Like, damn, like she kind of carried me a little bit. Now, we also find out that it is Brandon's birthday and he's having a little birthday get-together. He invited Patrick and Safari to come to the little birthday soiree. Now while this is going on, Kandi and Todd are back at the house trying to figure out, they like, listen, some information has been getting back to us that people feel some kind of way, so we want to have a town hall meeting where everybody can come and express their concerns, express their issues in a safe environment. We're not going to invite Philip because we already know that that's not going to be a good idea. That's probably not going to work out well, for most of us, Brandon and Dom are still doing this illegal relationship situation where he wants her to come to his birthday situation, and she was like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. But then they proceed to go into the supply room and kiss because we can hear the on the mics. What? You don't want to go to his birthday celebration because you feel like that might be a little too much. But you go into the supply closet at work and proceed to make out. Just make it make some sense. So we get to the OLG. Kandi's there, Todd's there, and they're going to have their town meeting. They pulling people. They going down to the area. They done brought in the sisters. Listen, let me tell y'all something about Aunt Bertha. Aunt Bertha give us one every episode, okay? This episode now, we had the little clip at the beginning where they would get ready, do their little confessionals, and the man asked them if they had the gum to spit their gum out, and he had a piece of paper, and she told him to get that piece of paper out her damn face. Now, I might be adding the damn in there because I don't know if Aunt Bertha said damn or not, but I feel like that's what she said. So during the meeting, and here's one of the things that frustrates me, and this has always been, when I'm in an environment where we got to have staff situations and staff meetings, let me tell you what one of my biggest pet peeves is. One of my biggest pet peeves is when we have to be in a huge environment for you to address one person. So Kandi opens up the floor. And people are bringing up different issues that they have. I mean, it's little simple stuff, it's silly stuff. But the problem I have is y'all didn't want to address all the little other issues, because the issue that y'all really wanted to address, y'all were waiting for it to come to the floor. So when Rashad brought up the issue about not having iPads, saying, listen, you know, I'm used to working with iPads, you know, writing stuff down on a piece of paper. It's a little dated. He said, and when I have to use my personal phone to call customers for whatever the reason might be, that's a problem for me. I think that's a valid concern, and that's a valid complaint, especially since he's coming over from Blaze, where clearly they use iPads at Blaze. Now, I understand that Blaze is supposed to be a little more upscale. Y'all want OLG to be a little down-home situation. But at this point, having an iPad is not upscale. 4-year-olds got iPads. There is nothing upscale about having an iPad and about putting your, you know, seating situation, your reservation situation on an iPad. But you skipped right over that. And Todd even acted like he was irritated. I mean, people complaining, like, just do your job. How is him using his personal phone to call somebody a job, part of his job? It is not. It is not. Then they get to talking about management. And Mama Joyce complaining about Brandon. Well, once Mama Joyce complained about Brandon, about how he, you know, she was slaving away in the kitchen one time, and he came back there and was like, oh, y'all got it. Y'all don't need my help. And he proceeded to leave her in the kitchen by herself and didn't offer her no help. Then somebody else brought up something about people stepping right over paper and management walking right past paper on the floor. So then Kandi was like, well, I mean, we can all agree that sometimes like that all of us can do better at our jobs. Baby Aunt Bertha said, well, all I know is one day I spoke to Brandon and Brandon didn't speak back. And I said it'd be a cold day in hell before I speak to him ever again. I said, oh, Brandon, you made Brandon, baby, but Brandon knew what he had to do. Brandon got his happy tail up, walked over and tried to give her a hug. Now, she didn't hug him back, and she told him to get up out her face. But that's what you were supposed to do, Brandon. And he apologized. That he said he didn't mean no harm, and he apologized. But here's where my pet peeve. See, I got sideswiped by Aunt Bertha. Here's my pet peeve, though. My pet peeve in this whole situation is y'all really wanted to hear. Y'all was waiting for Chandrika to see if she was gonna repeat all the shit she said behind y'all back to y'all's face. And when she didn't say something, then all of a sudden it was, well, Chandrika, I heard you had something. Chandrika, did you have something to say? Chandrika. Here's my issue. If y'all really wanted to have a conversation with Chandrika, that's who y'all should have pulled aside from the beginning. That's not to say that y'all didn't need to have this town hall and that conversations didn't need to be had. But if you had a specific issue with Chandrika, that's who you should have pulled aside. Then one of the other waitresses is going to start complaining about people not wiping down the menus. And because Chandrika know that her and that lady had a conversation the day before about wiping down the menus, she starts going off and told that woman that she need to shut the hell up and stop being so petty, and she doing too much and she tripping. So Chandrika was like, I don't have nothing to say. I'm good. I'm cool. But she had something to say to that waitress. She had nothing to say to Kandi and Todd, but she had a whole lot to say to that waitress about them damn menus. Now listen, I feel the way, I think it might have been Don Juan or somebody else was like, listen, if you see the menus need to be wiped down, just wipe the damn menus down. Now Melvin said, listen, I like Philip. Philip done came in here. I worked with him at Blaze, and I'm learning a lot from him, and I like Philip because, see, let me tell you something about Melvin. Y'all need to pay attention to Melvin because, quiet as kept, loud as it is, Melvin's going to be the GM, okay? He's going to be the executive chef for all of Kandi's restaurants one day. He done already worked his way up. From bus boy all the way up to in charge of the kitchen. He went and got his culinary arts degree, so he's going to be qualified. And if he's listening to Philip tell him how he need to run things, and how to run a business, and how to run a restaurant, baby, he going to be their GM. He going to be running all the Kandi shit, okay? And I'm not mad at it, because he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Moving on. Now, while this is going on, Philip is hanging out with his best friend, basically telling his best friend that he ain't dealing with this. The disrespect, he ain't dealing with. He ain't never worked like this before, and he don't plan to work like this before because it's too much, okay? It is too much. Now, after the meeting, Torrin goes to talk to Patrick, and he lets Patrick know how he felt. You know, he was like, listen, we cool and everything, but I'm just letting you know I felt some kind of way about how that whole thing went down. You know, you kind of embarrassed me. I didn't know I was being fired. And, you know, Patrick admitted that he could have handled that whole situation better. But then Torrance tries to encourage Patrick to still have his housewarming. Now, Torrance, you should have stayed out of that. You saw how that went down, and you saw that that woman wasn't interested in there being no parts of a housewoman. You knew better than that. And Patrick, you knew better too, because Patrick tried to call her and tell her that, you know, he talked to Torrance. Torrance felt some kind of way. But Torrance thinks he should still have his housewoman. And she basically told Patrick, I don't really give a damn what Torrance said. We had this conversation. We decided we ain't having no housewoman. Click. I still will. So then he must have talked her into changing her mind. So now they working on the guest list. And she don't want to invite Torrance because she said, I think Torrance got a problem with me after the way you said how things went down at the restaurant. And of course, you know, she don't want no pasta Chandrika and nothing that she bringing. But they did agree to at least have some parts of a, you know, housewoman. So then we see Brian. I like Brian. And Rashad, I like him too. They're hanging out over at Brian's house, excuse me. Brian said, listen, this suspension actually hasn't been a bad thing. It's giving me an opportunity to work on, you know, my thing, because I really want a food truck. I really want to do my egg rolls. And we see him, you know, showing Rashad how to make an egg roll, and he's got his little juice, his little sauce to go with it. Now, he said he's actually been, you know, filling orders and selling. He said, that's why I ain't even called Kandi, because, you know, this actually has been a blessing in disguise for me. Now, I don't know how long the suspension was supposed to last, but okay. So then, of course, while they're eating their egg rolls, Rashad is giving Brian the update on what's going on down to the restaurant, and they get to talking about Brandon and Dom having this whole illegal relationship. And Rashad said, so it's okay, so we can't drink on the job, but it's okay to, you know, have sex with your boss on the job. We can do that though. Ciao. Now, I done already told y'all how I feel about this whole Brandon Dominique situation. Like, again, I know we doing a TV show, so I'm gonna give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But in the real world, on a real job, in a real situation, Kandi, you opening yourself up to a whole liability, okay? But moving on. Kandi actually shows up at the restaurant, and Don Juan has a clip for Kandi to hear. So Don Juan just happened to stumble across Brandon on the phone with Chandrika, and Chandrika is cussing everybody out. She talking about how, you know, Kandi and Todd don't care about nothing going on at the, they don't give a F about nothing going on at the restaurant. Kandi and Todd don't care about this, and Kandi and Todd don't care about that. So they decided they really do need to have a one-on-one with Chandrika. Y'all need to have a one-on-one after Patrick came back and told you what she said. Oh, put a pin in that. Rewind. She did bring up, because, I'm sorry, I skipped the whole part of that meeting. Patrick, little punk ass, when Chandrika wouldn't say nothing, he was like, I'm going to tell you what she said. She said that the food should taste the same on Monday as it tastes on Friday. And it shouldn't taste any different. Blah, blah, blah. So, of course, that got Mama Joyce and her sisters all in a bunch. Talking about wait a minute. Though the recipes are the recipes and everything should taste the same. Let me tell y'all something. The correct answer is yes. It absolutely should taste the same on Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever, because the recipes are the recipes. But the reality of the situation is, and we have all had this experience. We have all had this experience where you go to a restaurant on one day and the food tastes different depending on the cook, depending on who's back there. So should the food taste different? No, it should not. But does it happen? Yes, it does. Now, Melvin stepped in and said, listen, we fully staffed again. You know, things might have got a little crazy when we didn't have a full staff, but we are fully staffed again. And the recipe should be good. He said everything should taste the same no matter what. But that is a valid statement to make, okay? Moving on. But can we just talk about Patrick snitching? Again, snitching. But moving on. So Brian and his little birthday party. Now, Brian had his birthday party down to the blaze, and I'm not mad at that because he probably get a discount, if not free, since he a manager over at OLG. So he's having his birthday party down to the blaze where, you know, he probably ain't got to come out of his pocket with nothing. And we get to meet his mama and daddy. Now, his parents are from Jamaica. He's actually was born, I want to say he said he was born in New York. Either he was born in Jamaica and they moved to New York and then they moved to Atlanta, or his parents are Jamaica. I know his parents are Jamaica for a fact. But anyway, he lived in New York before he moved to Atlanta. And he was telling his mom that he did invite, you know, someone special, but he doesn't think that she's going to come. Well, Dom and Torrin decided they was going to pull up. You know, Dom said she thought about it, and she decided she was going to come, you know, to the party. So she ends up coming to the party, and Brandon is really happy to see her. He's surprised, he's excited, but he's absolutely happy to see her there. And Patrick shows up with Safari. So Safari and Torrin were able to have a conversation, and I felt like they had a chance to clear the air. At least I hope they did, child. So I feel like they had a chance to clear the air. And Brandon actually introduced Dom to his parents. Now, he told his parents, well, she works for me. And his father was like, wait a minute, she what? Does she work with you or she work for you? Because there's a difference and I need to know. But they cleared it up and said work for. Man, I feel like they was thinking it, but they didn't want to say it because they probably knew they had that camera in their face. But they was thinking what I said. Like, do you think that's a good idea? I'm just saying. Now, back down to the OLG, Kandi and Todd then pulled Chandrika outside to have a whole conversation with her about what they had heard on that videotape that Don Juan done played them. Now, they didn't tell her that it was a videotape. They didn't tell her that they heard it on video or that Don Juan had it. They just said, well, we heard you said some things. And, of course, she was sitting there like, what? I said, what? And Todd was like, listen, I feel some kind of way because in the video you talking about Kandi and Todd don't give a F, and we are clearly trying to work, which we're here clearly trying to fix things, at least on camera. And she is sitting there like a bump on the log because she's in it, she doing exactly what I be doing. Who the fuck told? But that tells me something, Chandrika. The fact that you don't know who said it tells me you've said it multiple times, because if you had only had that conversation with one person and you had only said that to one person, you would automatically know, or at least you would feel like Brandon has snitched on me, because Brandon is the only person I had that conversation with, even though we know Don Juan overheard it, but that's not the point. The fact that you are sitting there trying to figure out who snitched on you tells me that you've been talking shit all over that restaurant, ma'am. Because if I only had a conversation with one person talking trash about somebody and that person came back to me, I already know who I need to go to. But the fact that you don't even know where to start, oh, well, that tells me something, ma'am. Oh, that tells me something. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think, okay? That was the episode. Let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.